Hey everybody, and welcome back to AP World History in 516. I'm Justin. Thanks for stopping by today. Today we are going to be taking a look at the AP World History exam format. And I think it's important if you are looking to get into AP World History, or if you're already there but you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to focus on whenever it comes to the exam? I think one of the important things to think about is going to the AP Central website and taking a look at a lot of the information that they have there. That's what I'm looking at today. If you go to apcentral.collegeboard.org, you type in AP World History and then click on the exam, you'll be able to show this exam format here. So today we're going to be talking about the different percentages or weights that each exam format requires, and kind of which ones I emphasize the most, or which ones that I think are kind of the most important ones, just as my own opinion here. All right, so first off, let's look at the multiple choice section of it. All right, this is the first thing that all AP World History takers will take. It is 55 questions, 55 minutes, and 40% of your exam score. All right, so one of the big things here that I notice is the number of questions in comparison to the number of minutes. All right, getting into the practice of answering at least a question a minute is something that you need to get into the habit of. Hopefully your teacher has set it up to mirror that. So, if a teacher gives a 40 question test, then it's 40 minutes. That way it gives you an understanding of, am I taking too long on questions, or can I spend longer on different questions that may require a little bit more time, especially here as we look at analyzing historical text, interpretations, and evidence. We could include primary and secondary sources, images, graphs, maps, etc. Some of these kind of what we call stimulus questions are going to take longer. So it's one of those things where on the non-stimulus types questions, those are the questions where you try and go through as quick as you can. That way you can spend a little bit longer, or have a little bit more of a cushion set up for yourself on these stimulus types of questions. Now, the next thing I want to emphasize here is the weight for these exam scores, all right? So out of all of this test, 40% of the weight comes from the multiple choice. And I think it's really interesting that it's worth so much and it happens so early on in the exam, is that realistically how you do on the multiple choice part really gives you an idea about how you're going to do on the exam itself. I've been told that if you're getting about 40% of the questions right on this portion of the test, then you're setting yourself up for a 3. Now, you do have to do fairly well on the other sections, but my thought is if you're at least hitting 50% of the exam and getting the, say 25, 30 or so questions correct on this portion of the exam, I think that's kind of a better indicator that you're probably going to pass this test. So maybe you can think about your performance on your previous tests and think, am I hitting that 40 to 50%? Now, obviously, if you're hitting well beyond that, then you're looking at possibly 4 to a 5. It really just depends on how well everybody does whenever we look at this exam. All right, next, after the multiple choice, no break, you go straight into the short answer questions. This is 30 questions, 40 minutes, and is 20% of the exam score. So for this one, it's worth significantly less. It's about half of what the multiple choice is, but it's one of those things where you need to look at this fairly seriously. Hopefully your teacher has introduced how to write an SAQ. If not, there will be a video about how to SAQ in the future. In my class, we end up using what's called an ACE format, an answer, citation, explanation, kind of this 3-sentence format to help you get these points and get as many as what you can. All right. When we look at the breakdown of it, we find that question 1 is required. Okay, so there is no choice. It includes one secondary source and focuses on something between 1200 to 2001, which is pretty typical. This is when our content happens, as 1200 to 2001. The same thing for question number 2, except now we've transitioned to a primary source that focuses on historical developments or processes between those same years. Now, where you get into some flexibility is in the third question. So you get to choose between 2 different prompts. So the first prompt will focus on a historical development between 1200 and 1750. And then the next question focuses in on a different time period, 1750 to 2001. No sources are included for either one. So for this one, my suggestion is pick the one that you think that you are most familiar with, the one that you have the most content knowledge on, and go with that one. And for this one, since each question has 3 parts, again, I think if you're getting about half of these correct, again, I think you're still setting yourself up for a round of 3. Now, after you get done with that portion, you have a short break, and then you're given the long stretch where you're writing the essays. So section 2A is the document-based question, and then 2B is the long essay question. Again, they give you just an hour and 40 minutes, and they say, here are both of your essays, go. And it's kind of a substantial amount of time that requires a lot of skills that are necessary to be able to manage your time well. But for starters, one of the first things that I want to draw attention to is just the differences in the weights that they play in your overall grade. A DBQ is worth 25%, your LEQ is worth 15%. If I'm sitting here looking at that, and this is what I do in my teaching, I emphasize the document-based question first and most, just because it is worth more than the LEQ. And realistically, if you take a look at the rubrics between a DBQ and an LEQ, they're pretty similar. So if you understand the rubrics for one, you pretty much understand the rubrics for both, all right? The idea here is I would spend closer to an hour and 10 minutes on the DBQ and about 30 minutes on the LEQ, simply because, again, the DBQ is worth more, all right? So that's all I've got for today. That is the AP test format in a nutshell. Again, you can find all of this information on the AP Central College Board website, along with other information. Future videos will take a look at the course, the different weights, and I'll give my perspective on some topics that I think are just more important than others, and especially ones that I could really see DBQ prompts or LAQ prompts being a priority in this upcoming exam in 2021. So check that out later. As always, thanks for stopping by AP World History in 516. Again, if you like the video, like it and subscribe. Thanks.